Hey y'all. So I was not going to go live today because today has been interesting. But I was reflecting on the things that bring joy, the things that raise our vibration, the things that make us feel connected to love. And, you know, it is as simple as just doing more of those things. I actually did a presentation today that was all about positivity and like positive thinking and the ways our joy ripples out into the world. And I was doing this presentation at a nearby cafe as I was getting eaten up by mosquitoes because the Wi-Fi in this apartment was being really slow. And it was like literally 5 minutes before the call was supposed to start. And I was just looking, and I'm really blessed to live where I live because, yeah, there's like restaurants and cafes, and I'm close to the beach. So I was like, it literally is starting in 5 minutes, and that is enough time for me to walk over to the restaurant, get a seat, connect to the Wi-Fi, and start the presentation on time. And I was like, all right, let's just do it. Right. And so, in a lot of ways, I'm proud of myself by not being paralyzed by inaction, and also in embodying and modeling the very thing that I was teaching about, which was this, ability to connect to our joy, connect to our positivity, to see the good in things, to not let our external circumstances bring us down. Um, and so I was able to do two of the calls there and then head back. Also, hi, people who just joined. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Um, yeah, I was able to take those calls and then come back to the apartment. And then now the internet seems to be working again, which is great. Hopefully it stays. And yeah, I was just sending voice notes to coaching clients. And I realized, you know what? This is something that's important to me, showing up consistently on YouTube. And it's very straightforward. And I know it does amplify my energy when I do it. So I was like, if I'm feeling a little bit blah, the answer is not to scroll social media and scroll TikToks. The answer is actually to create something, to do something, to give something. And so that's me showing up. And I was reflecting on how amazing my day was yesterday. And I was like, oh, I don't want to have this thing of I have a really amazing day and then I have a really terrible day. I was like, no, I want to be able to, you know, consistently connect to joy. And I was thinking about what made yesterday so fun. And it was that I was outside a lot and I was talking to random people. And I know this is because of my energy, because a few months ago, before I moved to this area, I would go outside. I would be far less social than I am now, but I wasn't interested in connections with people. I was just really like locked into doing a bunch of inner work, to like paying off my debt, to like, all these other things, right? And so, I didn't just randomly, if I was at a restaurant, I wasn't just going to start talking to the person next to me who was also sitting alone. And all of that has changed since moving to this new apartment. And I think because, of course, my energy has changed. So, yeah, I find myself, I actually grabbed brunch with someone I met on the beach. So we had a really fun conversation and we grabbed brunch. And then I went out for dinner. And I'm just going to this restaurant, eating by myself, loving it. I'm that person who eats at a restaurant, and if the music is good, I'm like, and I'm just like bopping and eating, and the food's good, the music good. I'm having my own little party, right? And I do think that's the kind of energy that naturally people want to be around. So some lovely person sits down next to me, on the right next to me in the next table. We ended up having a whole conversation. I'm learning about them. They travel and da da da. So that's really fun. And I'm just feeling like so happy and joyful. And then I go and I start walking home. Some guy just starts walking next to me. And I gotta say, old me would have shut that down so fast, especially because I wasn't interested in moving forward. New me was like a person to talk to on my walk home. So we're having a whole conversation. He's talking in Spanish, practicing his English. I'm talking in Spanish, practicing my Spanish. We're having a whole nice little conversation. And at some point, I'm like, quiero caminar sola. Like, I'm ready to walk by myself. And he's like, great. We shake hands. And I keep going on my journey. And yeah, I realized that it was me being out and putting myself in situations to have connection is what made the day feel so fun, so full of joy. And showing up on YouTube and going live in this way is another chance for me to engage with the lovely humans if you choose to say hello, because y'all are being real quiet. And that's okay. It's Friday. I was feeling into like, it feels like it's kind of been a long week. There's been a lot of emotional journeys. I mean, I'm assuming you're going through it as well. Maybe not. Maybe it's been really chill for you. And so I get if you're like, I need to hang out. I'm just going to watch you do what you want to do. And you're going to be a part of my decompression routine as I wrap things up on Friday. But it makes me think of the Love Money book, Love Money, Money Loves You. By the way, I am launching the April Liberating the Money Shadow container. So if you want to get in early, I'm going to be promoting it all month long. But if you want to get in early while the price is the lowest it'll be, you can click on the link in the description to this live. But something the Love Money book talks about is like, you know, a lot of the ways we get introduced to more abundance is through the people we meet, through the places we are, through the relationships we form. And so an easy way to welcome in more abundance is to just literally put yourself in the places and spaces to have those connections. Liv is here. You're like, I feel like I talk too much, so I'm just listening. What are you talking about? Your presence is the present. Your presence is the present. And then anything you share, further gifts. Like that. And that's so interesting that you said that, because it really speaks to the attitude that I think is key to be a creator, especially on YouTube, where there are millions of people talking. You got to be like, I'm going to get up in here and I'm going to say something too. And the people who want to hear, they can hang out. If they don't want to hear it, they can leave. But I'm going to take up my space. So this is like a testing ground for you to practice taking up space and being part of the conversation. You can also think of it as one-on-one public coaching. So if there's something that's alive for you right now in your creative journey, where is that video, by the way? I do not talk to my clients like that. I am so encouraging and supportive. But it would be funny if I was like, where is it? Where's the video? Olivia, where's the video? We all have our own ways of being talked to. Lorna Christine is here. Hi, Lorna Christine. You're new. You're saying, well, let's talk about it. Your video about you quitting your job encouraged me. Oh, I'm so glad. Wow, that was in the year of our Lord, 2021. That's the power of creating something. You never know when it's going to reach the person it needs to reach, you know? And I think sometimes when we create and we get discouraged about the numbers, we can be like, oh, 0 people watched it, you know, even if the number is 100, you're like 0 people watched the thing. And it's like, that's not true, first off. And maybe it's a seed that's being planted so that in 2025, you know, someone can be like, wow, this thing was so transformative for me. So I'm really glad. I'm feeling so grateful that I feel like that's like one of my major legacies as a YouTube creator, was inspiring folks during that COVID season of like, yeah, just leave that job. Just leave it. You'll be all right. And I think part of why I love to continue to show up on YouTube, and especially to show up in this joy, is to show people like, yeah, things got better. Like I made the right choice. My life is so much better. I make so much money and I have so much free time and I have so much joy. And I'm literally 6 minutes from the beach right now. If I got up, my door is right here, I would be toes in the sand, toes in the ocean, in warm, clear, beautiful water in 6 minutes. I made that choice for myself. You can make the same choice for yourself. So thanks for telling me. Liv, Markivia is here. Hi, Markivia. How you been? How was your week? Liv saying, your finger is still, I forgot you had that finger situation. Your finger is still broken. And you're hoping that's a good excuse to hide for another couple of weeks. Whole time you could make that your first video and it could be inspirational. Like, look at me with my broken finger. They tried to stop me. They tried to put me down. I wasn't going to let that stop me. I'm here. Once you realize that literally every single thing that happens to you, if you choose to keep going, it becomes part of the testimony. You know, I get to be like, you know, they tried to stop me with the internet not working in my apartment. Was I going to let that get me down? Was I going to let that stop me from doing my job? No, I said, I'm going to do my job and I'm going to show up on time. And I walked to the cafe and I got that Wi-Fi password. And they were like, hey, girl, you're going to need to order something. It's been 90 minutes. And I'm like, for sure. Okay, I'll have a chai latte because I'm not here to just use your internet. I'm trying to maintain a relationship with y'all, okay? Here's a couple hundred pesos. It gets to be a part of your testimony. Markeithia is saying that you are being tested in multiple areas. But you said it with an exclamation point. Like you said it joyfully. You're like, I'm being tested in multiple areas. And you're showing up with a smile and you're learning something and you're growing and you're expanding. I bet you're here, ain't you? I'm excited. This is your testimony. And it's coming from all sides. This means you got it. You can handle it. It is interesting, like, and I was listening to what's this one? It's the book on Spotify, my current audiobook that I'm listening to. I actually started listening to Lady Gaga. Her new album just dropped. Abracadabra, la, la. She knows how to make music that is fun. If there's one thing Lady Gaga is gonna do, you're gonna have fun singing that song. The Book of Mastery. I've been listening to that audiobook, and I was really hearing it and letting it like download into me. And it was talking about the small self versus the higher self, this, that, and the third. And so while I'm like getting my ass beat by these mosquitoes in the hot Mexican sun, my job is so easy. It's so funny to complain because it's like, what are you talking about? While I was on my Zoom, it's like, what are you mad about? It's like that meme of like, it's not like we're working in a coal mine, but the secret is it's way worse than working in a coal mine, all that stuff. But yeah, my job is so easy. But yeah, I was just feeling how it's so easy to talk about raising your consciousness and connecting to your joy when things are good. It's so easy. It's when you are feeling physically attacked by mosquitoes and when it feels personal and when the Wi-Fi isn't working and you're like, this is the moment. It's not when things are great. That's not a test if things are great. It's when you're in it. And it's like, in this moment, can I have the awareness to see that there's a smaller self doing her little job, which she loves because it's important to her and she wants to do a good job and we love her for it. And then there's this spiritual self, this broader, wider context. There's this emotional journey. There's this soul journey, and that's happening at the same time. And can you not let any of the small feelings of frustration or annoyance or fear, whatever it is, can you allow yourself to notice it and be like, oh, she annoyed. Shimpy is annoyed. She don't like that the internet's not working, and still be connected to your wider self. And also something I've started doing, I used to take everything personally, everything. I would be like, why is the internet not working? Is this a reflection on my journey with home? And should I move back to the United States? And is this about, have I been getting cocky about my relationship to abundance? Like I would really take every single thing as like, this is an arrow pointing me to some kind of journey. And I got to figure out what that journey is. And now I'm like, it's the internet. It's fine. It'll come back. It does not matter. It does not matter. It does not need my attention. It does not need my energy. Now my current metric is how quickly can I go from caring about something that doesn't matter to being like, this doesn't matter. Anyway, and then I'm back to being my like, abracadabra, my joyful self. And that to me is what mastery looks like. So Markeithia is saying, because I was saying that maybe she was showing up with a smile. She's like, no, oh. It's hard, D. But you are fighting back with word, action, and love. Amen. Trusting that your obedience and discipline will be rewarded. Yes, we love it. The trust is everything. And I'm curious, I'm always curious when people use this idea of fighting, because I think sometimes when we're locked into this idea of fighting, it kind of gives even more credence to the thing we're fighting against. Like we're saying this thing is a worthy opponent to me and it's worth fighting and there's a battle. And also even around these ideas around like discipline, willpower, and all these things. And I'm curious sort of how you are incorporating joy and silliness and fun in your fight, or is it more like I'm locked in? I saw a thing about power, and it was reflecting on how some people think like power when it comes to like authority and leadership, it comes from being like imposing and serious and angry, but actually we perceive people who have a lot of joy as actually being quite powerful because they're not stressed, they're not concerned, they're not worked up. And so it's very powerful, of course, to like laugh in the faces and BS because I think it's rooted in you knowing the truth of who you are and you knowing that there are no real threats. And so I'm curious if that would be supportive for you. But you also know your journey, you know. Um, Markeithia is just saying, girl, I'm in it. With the wailing face of agony. Um, and you're also saying, I can see it and recognize it. It's the coolest experience ever. Your nervous system is very much still unregulated, but your awareness is on 1000. We love it. So you are evolving. Not even, I guess, you are evolving. That's the first step. Like the first, I've heard this metaphor that, you know, the healing journey is, or maybe the consciousness awareness journey. It's a journey of going from like just seeing and just not even questioning what you're seeing. You're just taking it as fact to then realizing you're wearing glasses. So just the fact that like, wait, I'm actually seeing things through a filter. Maybe I can't take the filter off, but I at least know there's a filter there. And how can you imagine how amazing it would be if you literally went your whole life wearing glasses, not realizing you're wearing glasses, and you're like, am I wearing glasses? And then you're like, what's on the other side? And it's so cool because it's like it naturally creates this curiosity of like, what's true? If I have been seeing every single thing through a filter, what is really going on? And I think sometimes I don't think it's a divergence to be like, who made the glasses? Where did they come from? Who put them on my face? Why did they put them on my face? Like, I think it's fun, but I think the point is, am I ready to lift them up and see? And sometimes we go on the journey of like, why and how come and how long and etc. Because actually being with, do I believe that I have the power to actually lift them up? And am I willing to see what's really there? And am I willing to be with what belief systems I have, what ideas, you know, I've truly just taken as as law could actually be disturbed if I were to really see what's going on. And I think it can be a little scary, but if you're into that sort of thing, it can be very fun too. All right, as always, my intention is to go live for about half an hour. So we've got about 12 more minutes. I wanted to share that one of my clients mentioned that there is like an astrology GPT that you can do with like ChatGPT. And when I was at dinner last night, the person I was talking to at one point asked me my sign, and I said Scorpio, and they were like, and then what is the rising and the moon? And I was like, girl, I don't know. And the way I've had so many readings done, because I work with a lot of clients who are into astrology, who are in the world of tarot, who are into human design, who, so I have had at least 4 to 7. I think I've had 7 readings. And if I can think of one friend who did it in real life. I can think I did a card reading here on my YouTube channel, but that same person also did a birth chart reading for me. I've had 2 other clients give me readings. So that's at least 4. Okay, so I've had my birth chart read at least 4 times I can consciously remember, and I could not tell you. If you had asked me last night any information beyond my main thing, I would have been like, listen, I just go to God. I just go directly in and up. And I'm like, what's going on? Lead me. And I trust that guidance. But they asked, and I was like, and I, because I have done it so many times, I literally have the details of like the birth time and all that stuff in my email. So I was like, I'm just going to send you this information and you can do with it what you will. Though I have found that when I've gotten readings done, they're usually very accurate. They're usually very revealing. And so I'm like, yeah, you really are telling yourself, you're telling someone about yourself if you give them the time and date you were born and the location. But I was like, I don't care. We're all open books. The illusion that we can hide is part of the lie we tell ourselves. So I was like, yeah, here you go. And then I was like, I want to know what they learned about me. And so I'll go to this astrology GPT and I'm like, give me a reading based on my information. And once again, was very accurate. And now I know what it is. So I'm going to share it with you in case you are an astrology girly. So you can learn something about me too. Because I really did find it quite comforting. I took a screenshot because I was like, I will no longer be caught unaware when someone's like, what are the other parts? And I'm like, oh, fuck, I was making shit up. I thought Libra was involved. It's not involved. It's not involved. So I have a Scorpio sun, an Aquarius moon. You know what that means. You get it. And then I have a Virgo rising. I know Virgo is Beyonce. These are the things I know about astrology. Virgo, Beyonce. And here's what the internet said about me. They said, since you're a Scorpio sun, Aquarius moon, Virgo rising, you're a deep feeling truth seeker, Scorpio, with an innovative, unconventional emotional world, Aquarius, wrapped in a practical and refined outer shell, Virgo. So that's something about me. You take that, you enjoy that, if that resonates with you. It really did. I was like, I felt very seen. And I think what got me, and this is something that people mirror to me, is like I was on the Hello Creator call on Wednesday. Shout out to Hello Creator, link to join Wednesday's call. I think we're going to be talking about like websites. My intention is to sort of walk through how I'm going to redesign my website. And it's going to be through this lens of what does it look like to embody like your true expression, your creativity, but also be with, the procrastination that comes up when it comes to these big projects. So how can we take it piece by piece? That's my intention for that call. But I started the call because someone asked me, how are you doing, Chimdi? And I was like, someone gave me a compliment yesterday. And that was actually the person that I ended up getting brunch with. So I'm walking along the beach and some woman is like, girl, you always looking good. Something to that effect. Like you always have the cutest outfits on. Meanwhile, I'm like, I don't know about y'all. I don't expect people to be watching me outside. I think we are all minding our business in our own world. So when she's like, not only am I seeing you now, I've been seeing you and I've noticed you and I'm commenting on you. So this is why, have y'all seen the meme from Beyonce's concert where it's like, she ain't no diva. And it's the idea that like, you're just going to run to the corner store and get a snack and you looking busted. And then you hear Beyonce being like, she ain't no diva. And so you like make yourself look presentable to go outside. That's what I was thinking. I was like, dang, so you people really are clocking you and watching you. And it was a really sweet compliment. And I honestly forgot what I was going to say. Oh, yeah, I remember. So I was sharing this anecdote on the Hello Creator call. And I said, like, dang, it really reminds me that I cannot be messy in these Mexico streets because people be watching you. It's a small town. I live in a small town. Like, everybody kind of know everybody. It's transient. People are coming in and out because people are on vacation and stuff. But like people see, they talk, they know. And someone said in response, they were like, Chimdi, I'm sure you at your messiest is still pretty neat. And I was like, And so I was thinking about that when I was reading about me being a Virgo rising. Yes. Aquarius moon sounds like a cool name for someone. Aquarius moon, like a Sailor Moon kind of character. So I will remember that. Aquarius moon, Virgo rising. And I was like, that's what they're talking about. Where on the outside, I really seem put together, you know? And I remember I was talking to a client about this because at the beginning of my time here in Mexico, there was so much going on, and every other call was at a cafe because the Wi-Fi wouldn't work, and it was a bunch of bullshit. And I remember like just expressing to one of my clients because I had to take the call at the cafe, like, I'm so sorry, girl, there's a lot going on. And she was like, well, you look great. Like you never look faced by what life has is throwing at you. And I'm like, huh, now I know that is the Virgo rising in me. I mean, I'm always going to give it to the good Lord, but it's fun to use new words. All right, I'm popping back into the chat. Scrolling up. So Liv is saying, girl, I love astrology, but my mom had my birth time wrong the whole time. So your chart is now completely different, complete existential crisis. I can totally imagine how that could mess you up. And I think that's part of why I hold astrology lightly, is because I think it could be so easy to just export our power and export our self-trust and export our own intuitive knowing and say, well, this system has existed for thousands of years and lots of people believe in it and lots of people give it credence. So I'm going to do the same thing, even if I have a different sense of self, or even before I've developed my sense of self, I'm just going to take this one that is external and adopt it. And I just didn't want to fall into that. But I like it for fun. And congratulations on hopefully getting your real birth time. And yeah, that's so wild. Anyway, I'm sending you love. Markeithia is saying you're cracking up because that's you. Liv saying I struggle with spirituality. Astrology was something I understood, and now it's all ruined. Oh no! But maybe like that's the gift, right? Is so that you can create your own relationship to self and to guidance and to your future and to your fate and all these things, and not just take the cards for granted. There is this funny ass woman on TikTok who does these like I literally sent it to the woman I had brunch with because she like will watch people like pull cards and stuff, and it's so funny. I'm gonna just show you the person on TikTok. Her name is at HESKY, and I'm gonna see if I could just show y'all the video that I watched. You're single. Everyone around you is in relationships. Drunk card coming in backwards. You don't even drink. All you do is stay home, work on your abundance. And what I love is that she just has these, like, she hand draws the cards and the animations are ridiculous. So yeah, that is the depth of my engagement with astrology, is supporting my clients who work on it and watching hilarious TikToks. Abstract Voice Podcast is here. Hi. Markeithia is saying, Liv, when I asked my mom the time, she said, I think about 3 something. I said, you know what? I think about 3 something. Do you have your birth certificate? Because that is how I know the time. But it is like, are we counting from when my crown emerged from the coochie lips? Are we counting my first breath? Shouldn't the point of conception be important? So I think, you know, when it comes to these things, we just have to hold it with a certain level of lightness, because otherwise, yeah, there's just a lot of nuance to it, you know? Abstract Voice is saying poetic. Chimp, I don't even know what I was talking about, but I received the compliment of it being poetic. Oh, and Abstract Voice is putting in the actual symbols as if I know. I actually think that one is Taurus. Though to me, it looks like an IUD. So whichever symbol looks like an IUD is your sun. And then I don't know that other symbol. It's the one that looks like a horseshoe with a line underneath. Those are your moon and rising. So feel free to get specific because I'm not the one. It kind of looks like a ram as well. And it also kind of looks like a uterus. So that's really interesting. I'm curious to find out what that symbol is, given all the different symbology just there. Liv is saying, ooh, interesting. You don't read as an Aquarius moon to me. Okay. I am an Aquarius. We're known to be a bit cold. You cry too much for an Aquarius, but it's all fun. I heard that sometimes you're the exact opposite of the thing, you know? But I think if you also met me before my healing journey, you would maybe be more accepting of the Aquarius moon, because I only started feeling my emotions in about 2021. So it could be that. It could also have to do with, like, there's so much to it. The Saturn return. And so every 25, 30 years, you're going on a whole emotional journey and becoming a new person. And then there's human design. So I've had my human design chart done. I am oh my gosh, it's been so long, I don't remember my things. Projector. I'm a projector in human design. All I think about is, like, we like to take naps. Like, that's our thing with projectors, is we're gonna take a nap. We must. We must take a nap. When I got that reading, that gave me so much freedom. And I think that's the gift of any kind of practice, is freedom. Like, the freedom to do the thing you were going to do anyway that maybe you felt bad about. And now, because some person said this thing about you, you're like, oh, thank God, because I love naps and I hated not taking them. Abstract Voice Podcast is saying, hello, creators sent me an IGDM one day. That's how they got me. That's how they got me. Just slid into my IG, and I haven't looked back since. And that was sometime in 2023. Is that right? Yes, that's right. 2023. Wow, look at life. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. It's 2025. Anyone else feel like that's weird? We're here. Markeithia is saying, I have a part-time job at a gym. A member told me, when you put your sweater on, that's how I know it's time to go home. And you were like, dang, people are watching. Isn't that wild? Because I think something we'll often tell ourselves to feel better is like, no one's worried about you. Everyone's got their own life. You know what I'm saying? They're not checking for you. So the fact is, like, no, they checking for you. They watching, they waiting, they looking, they not saying nothing until they choose to say something. Isn't that wild? And we know there are people that we've watched, that we've seen, that we have thoughts about, feelings about, and we know to keep that to ourselves unless we want to start something. One thing I've started doing, so if I get real quiet on here, get distracted, or get pregnant, just kidding, never. I've started making eye contact with men again. And that's because I think you should only look at something if you're trying to get into something. So I'm still not even trying to get into nothing. But just the fact that I'm open to the prolonged eye contact, because I'm the kind of person where if I make eye contact with you, you coming over and you're going to start talking to me. So I'm like, I'm not even going to invite that. But now I'm in a new season where I am. And I love to flirt, and I've missed it. So that's what I do now. I just look around, make eye contact. They're like, oh, hey. And I'm like, hi. And we have a whole little conversation. Some man was talking to me last night. I think he was trying to invite me to something or have some kind of drink. It was in Spanish, And I was just like looking at him and smiling. And I was like, I just like listening to you talk. And I just walked away. I was like, all right, bye. I just walked away. So it's so nice to flirt on your own terms. It's like, I'm not giving you my number. I'm going to see you when I walk by the street. I'm going to smile. I'm like, hey, how are you today? And I'm just going to look at you and smile. Ooh. I'm going to be like, all right, well, you be blessed. I'm going to keep it pushing. Okay, Liv is asking what the astrology GPT is. I'm going to go ahead and find it and tell you. And let me know if you want me to ask any questions to my astrology GPT. And I wonder if I can just send you this link. Let me know if this link works. I'm going to put it into the chat. But it's literally just Astrology Birth Chart GPT by authorityastrology.com. So when you go to ChatGPT and on the left-hand column, it says like ChatGPT, and then it says Explore GPTs. If you click on that and then just type in astrology, presumably this one will come up. Abstract Voice Podcast is saying time of birth is when you hit the birth table. So if they're holding me, you know what I'm saying though? What if the umbilical cord's still on there? Have I started breathing yet? What if I'm still in the sack? Some people get born and they're still in that sack. I saw a video of it, and you got to like open that sack up, and then they're like, oh, fuck, and they start crying and stuff. Like, and that could be minutes, presumably, in between those times. Okay, Aries is the one that looks like a IUD/uterus/ram. And Libra is the one that looks like the horseshoe with the line underneath. I love to learn. Abstract Voice is also saying it is said. Also, what's your podcast about? I keep reading out your name, and I'm like, what is your podcast about? Abstract Voice Podcast is saying it said that the real person that we are is our ascending sign. Liv is saying that makes sense. I'm a Pisces moon, and I don't cry at all. And they're saying, but astrology is just fun. Tarot is fun too. It's all for the banter. Abstract Voice Podcast is saying, so it's real. I be getting spam. You're saying I was reading books. This chat all out of order, LOL. Liv is saying, hey, getting into something. Listen, the things I have gotten into and hopefully will get into, but I'm gonna mind my business, y'all. We're not talking about that on the internet. Abstract is saying that you think you don't know, or maybe when you come out, someone has a time. Oh, in terms of like the birth time, like how it all works. Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of nuance in it. Also, let us know about what your podcast is about so we can bring people to the podcast. All right, y'all, this has been super fun. I'm so glad I did this because I was truly feeling like, and then I was like, no, being on the internet, talking to the people, this is going to get my juice up. So Abstract Voice is saying that they are an abstract introvert artist of multiple mediums, and you plan to talk about a variety of topics. Okay, so is this the thing where you have put your flag in the sand by having a name, but you haven't yet published? And also, just while we chat, I'm just going to go into Spotify and I'm just going to see if I type in your podcast, if something comes up, and that will also be an answer for me. Abstract Voice Podcast. Victoria? Abstract Voice Podcast? Are you an abstract soul from a multi-universe living a human experience in this one-dimensional, concrete-minded world? And this is the podcast just for you. Stay tuned. And thanks in advance for vibing with me. Okay. And you've put out 2 episodes. I hope this is you. Otherwise, I'm just promoting some random person. You did a little intro. That was 2 minutes. And then you did a 12-minute episode in January of, I think of this is of this year. Comforting resistance on a Monday night because there is no more room for giving up when we are destined to show up for yourself and others. No more excuses. Okay. No more excuses. Share your gifts with the world. Abstract Voice Podcast. The world needs who? You and me to continue to create and share. Do not hoard your gift. Abstract Voice Podcast. Share them. Open your heart. All right. Okay. Is this you? I hope this is you. Exactly. You're like, I have to show up and follow my own advice. Exactly. Audrey's here. Hey, girl. And once again, you have shown up right as we are wrapping things up. There's always one person who arrives and they're like, I'm here. And I'm like, I love that for you. Okay, bye. But what matters is that you made it. Thanks for hanging out with me, y'all. This was super fun. I think once again, I'm going to take the weekend off. I'm learning the boundaries in terms of going live because it is pretty fun, pretty easy, pretty energizing. But I think the main thing is the psychological, like, pressure or sense of having to do something, even if it's something fun. It really does make a difference. So I think I'm going to let myself have the weekend so I can come back. Monday, I also have like no calls. So maybe I'll spend the entire day outside again. Also, I might go on an adventure tomorrow, and I'm not sure if I want to talk about the adventure because it involves psilocybin. Is that how you say that? So I might go on that adventure on Saturday. It's literally like, it's not on my vision board, but I did this thing that Steve Harvey recommended where you write down a list of 300 things. And one of the things was to do psilocybin in nature. So I think I'm going to realize that dream tomorrow, and I may or may not let you know. The thing is, there's still some fear about talking about these things, even though I've made literally, my channel was built on talking about marijuana. But sometimes I'm just like, no, I don't want to share. But I'll let y'all know. All right. Bye, y'all. Have a beautiful weekend. Thanks for hanging out. I love you.